So, good evening, everybody. My topic for today's session would be how we can use Flutter Flow to make web apps with ease. So, before we start diving into how Flutter Flow can be used to make web apps simpler, uh, I will discuss uh, briefly about what is Flutter Flow. So, basically, Flutter Flow is a low code platform that simplifies the process of making functional and good looking applications. It is built on top of Flutter, which enables developers to create cross platform apps and web apps, such as mobile web and desktop apps, with minimal or low coding effort. So it can be said as a no code or a low code tool, depending upon the use case which we are working on. So Flutter Flow is a drag and drop interface, and underlying power in it is of Flutter. So basically, I will show you an example here. What we do. So this is an interface. This is a widget tree. If uh, uh, widget tree is basically a tree of widgets which we place through which we can see show the UI interface of any screen. So what we do is we come here, we create a new screen. We want to As you can see, we can directly see what the screen would look like. Now we come here. Here are a list of widgets which Flutterflow provides. So basically, what we can do is just we can come here, you click this and here. So we can just drag and drop the widgets which we want and create an UI. So now talking about how Flutterflow can be used to make web apps. Yeah, the main advantage about using Flutter that it is cross platform. Flutter Flow makes making web easier because with the use of no code and having a very little experience in making web apps, you can very easily make those just because it's a drag and drop tool. So here I have written Flutter Flow's transition into web development marks a significant milestone, allowing developers to build and develop web apps with the familiar tools and intuitive interface. So, as we saw that we can create interfaces which are very easy to make with an prior experience of basically no coding. So, also if someone wants to make innovative designs, just uh, he should not have a bottleneck that he does not know how to code, and thus it can be used to make web apps as well. Now, the main components of a web app is it should be responsive. The design should be very intuitive, and other things are such that we can connect data in it and other things like such as hosting. Now, talking about design, as we saw that Flutterflow drag and drop tool, if you want to see how it would look in UI, here are all the options which Flutterflow give us. So this is a mobile screen on which we can see what we have made. This is a tablet screen. And here, if we click on the third here we can see how it look on a desktop screen as well. So by this, we can directly see here only that what our page or screen would look like after we have made the screen. Now, also, if we want to use pre-built widgets or pre-built templates, Flutterflow Marketplace is one of the place where you will get multiple pre-built templates that can be to make used as a starting point to make your web app. And also in multiple templates, there are predefined database integration as well, which can be used to save time and effort for a starting web app. Now, talking about responsiveness, Flutter Flow and Flutter basically provides us multiple widgets such as expanded, wrap, and flex, and other things, which can be used to make our widgets look intuitive with all these different screen sizes that are possible. Now, if I will show you here what Flutter Flow. Okay. So that here in Flutter Flow, you will get an area where you can decide that this widget or this component should be visible on which type of screen size. It can be seen on mobile, tablet, and landscape or desktop. Now, the question arises here is that what are the screen width or the pixel size at which it decides that it is a mobile or tablet or it is a desktop. So Flutterflow provides us the functionality to customize that as well. So these are called as breakpoints here. So you can just basically come here and you can say that 685 pixels, it will after 685 pixels, it will consider it as a tablet. Before that, it can consider as mobile and so on. So by that, you can create breakpoints and yeah. So now talking about conditional UI. Now conditional UI means the UI which we represent based on some conditions. So if we want to see here, this is an floating action button. Open. This is a starting web page which I've hosted as well, which I'll show later on. So this is an app. This is an floating action button which I have made. Now here I've added conditions that if the screen width is less than 1000 pixels, then only it should be seen on the design, else it should not be seen. So Flutter Flow provides us a very easy design. If I want to change the condition, you just come here. You can see select here screen width, and there are multiple other options as well. And down there, you can just tell what is the number of the pixels on which you want to decide that it should be seen or it should be hidden. Now going ahead. So the main reason for responsive design that it creates a seamless user experience, which can be done using responsive layouts and which helps an user to use the web app on any screen size he wants to. So Flutter Flow with the help of widgets, conditional UI, responsiveness breakpoints helps a lot and makes it very easy to make responsive UIs. Going ahead, data connectivity is an important part of any web app or any application. So Flutter Flow, Flutter Flow has multiple inbuilt database supported. So for example, if we go here, you can directly connect Firebase. You just need to give your project ID and then you can directly connect Firebase with your app. If not Firebase, there are multiple other options as well. If you go with Supabase, or you can connect your server as well. So with this, it is very easy for one to connect any database or any server and create a data-driven web app. And seamless integration is that you do not need to write any code to connect database or any server. You can just directly come. There is an UI which is already given by Flutter Flow, and that can be used here to connect uh, your database. Now hosting. Uh, Hosting and web app is also very easy with the use of Flutter Flow. The infrastructure made by Flutter Flow for hosting is very easy. So I will just show you right here. If we come here, there is an option for web development here. Now, web development, there are multiple options through which you can host your web app. Flutterflow directly also allows its to use its domain through which we can host the web app. It also allows you to add multiple other options such as SEO, site description. If you want to change the fav icon of your website, you can change that. You can, this is all premium features for Flutterflow. You can close the watermark. You can create a progressive web app. Progressive web apps are basically web apps that can also be downloaded with this. Yes. So now talking about rendering, that how Flutter, Flutter and Flutter Flow basically shows host your website. So Flutter underlying Flutter Flow. Flutter uses two key engines, which are CanvasKit and HTML. So uses two web engines, which are CanvasKit and HTML renderer, which convert your Dart code into HTML, CSS, and JavaScripts, and then it is further used to display your web app on the Chrome browser. Now, some of the limitations which this have is that only four browsers are currently supported using Flutter, which are Chrome, Safari, Edge, and Firefox. These are the four major web browsers which are currently supported by Flutter. And uh, yeah. So also, if you want to add custom domains for your website, there is an option directly given here to which you can create your just add your domain and connect your website directly with the domain which we have set. Also, you can see the deployment history of which was the last deployment which we deployed, and all the things that we have deployed from the web we can directly see here. These are all some premium features of this. In the free tier, I don't think this will be available. Now, moving ahead. So the major, this is a summary which I can say that this is a Flutter. What is the Flutter Flow advantage for web apps? The first is rapid development. You can create a basic MVP website within a day or two. So using the visual development tool, so it reduces time and effort. It is cost effective. You do not need any prior coding experience. Cross-platform compatibility. Not only you create a web app, you can also create an application from that as well. So, and of course, if, as we saw that there is flexibility and scalability in Flutter Flow. Also, Flutter Flow is constantly adding new features and helping users to add web apps. So currently, in the last 2 or 3 days, I think on 7th, it added supported for shared CN. So now shared CN is directly supported in Flutter Flow. So what we basically need to do to add Flutter Flow is come here. This is here from the Flutter marketplace. You need to add the library for shared CN. Just you add the shared CN library, and then you can directly use the components which are supported by shared CN directly here in Flutter Flow. Now, moving ahead. So this was done by me. So now this is an web app which I made within a few days using Flutterflow. This is a completely static web app. So this is a responsive web as well. So as you can see, the design was completely made using Flutter widgets and conditional UI and breakpoints, all of that. So you can see if you want to check responsiveness here, come here. So this is how it would look on a phone. If you want to try different sizes, we can see here that it supports responsiveness very well. And also the rendering engine which Flutter uses gives a very native like experience in web apps. So this is a static website. We deployed this website using Firebase, and this was basically what we can do using Flutter Flow. Now, some before uh, going ahead, I would like to share some scenarios which are given by Flutter itself, that in this case scenarios you should use Flutter to make web apps. So the first is if you want to make a progressive web app. The second is if you want to make a single screen web app, a single page web app, and if you have an existing Flutter mobile app to create a website, you can obviously use Flutter for that. And also one drawback which is currently available in Flutter as well as Flutter Flow is the uh, Flutter uses packages a lot to create UI and different components. So there is not a lot of support for web specific imports. So that is one of the, let's say, drawbacks for Flutter Flow. So this was just an introductory session from my side over Flutter Flow.